Well, good morning guys, welcome back to the channel, and hopefully you guys had a Merry Christmas. So we are out here today and this is going to be the topic of the video. So this guy came out here, he wanted to get a new exhaust setup done. Essentially he wanted me to put on some components that he had got from a buddy of his from like a 9th gen Civic, wanted to adapt it to here. And he has a mostly stock exhaust, whereas the stuff that came off his buddy's car is all 2.5 inch, so immediately that wasn't going to work, and that's not the quality of work that I offer, jerry rigging things to fit. So he decided to just offer doing a full new exhaust, and we're doing stainless because that's pretty much all I work with when it comes to exhaust stuff anymore. So yeah, I'm about to pull this thing in, but still finishing up tinkering on this S14 that we got in here. This thing has been a little bit of a hassle, I'm not gonna lie, but we think we got it basically put together now. So we're just finishing up the last few bits to it. So right now they're hooking up the alternator, and then we got to put the sway bar back on. And yeah, then we can pull it back down. Initially we've been chasing a drive shaft noise, and then had to reseal the oil pan and just a bunch of little things like that. Oil pan turned out to be quite the nightmare on this thing. It's a two pan. It's like layered, so you have to take the bottom layer off, and then that it gets you access to the girdle or whatever, or the pickup tube area. You got to take a plate off, and then you can get to the top pan bolts that are on the inside as well as the outside. You got to jump subframe, and it was just not very fun. So we're kind of just all hanging out today because Antoine's car broke an axle in the area, so he pulled it over here this morning to use some of my tools to change his axle out. And then Isaiah just having to come hang out because he got the day off, and yeah, the Integra got dropped off this morning. So yeah, got a little crew going on today. But yeah, let's see what they're doing.
In the way, no matter what angle you got there. Hello. My pants are cool. I got them for Christmas last year. I was feeling
that's totally fucking off, dude.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys got for Christmas, but a few of the things that my girlfriend got me happened to be some of these fancy new Milwaukee pliers. So I got the big ones, got the little ones, and then got some of these Milwaukee locking, clamps like these things. So much better quality, 20 times better than, Harbor Freight ones with the locks that actually disengage without having to use the strength of an elephant to, separate it. Yeah, pretty cool. Little things, little things. Yeah, so once this thing's got the alternator hooked back up, which is what they're trying to fight with right now, is the nut and the wire, and we just gotta slap the sway bar on it really quick, then I'm gonna pull on the Integra. So I'll see you guys in a few minutes, and we can show you what we're kind of working with on this thing.
Oh yeah, dude, the battery. There's no battery.
Oh yeah, that might be helpful. Time for this thing. This guy is way taller than me. There we go. Alright, before I rack it up, I'm going to give you guys a sound test so you can hear it before and after of whatever we're doing to it. So there you guys go. There's a before. I don't think it personally sounds that bad, but I know the guy, you know, he wants to do his thing, and either way we're upgrading the size of the piping. And I think I just heard the start of a little bit of a two-step there, so sounds like he's got a tune, so he's going to benefit from the larger piping exhaust going from the factory like 1.5 to 2.5 is what we're using. So let's get this thing racked up and get started. So this is what we're looking like. So I'm not sure what kind of muffler this is. I want to say it's a DC Sports one. But yeah, you know, just the muffler shop special back here. And then everything else is pretty much bone stock other than this cat delete pipe, which is also, you know, muffler shop special. So yeah, we're basically just starting from here, going all the way back. I got to drop the car. I forgot to grab the muffler and such. But yeah, now that you guys know what we're working with, it's pretty simple. Nothing I haven't done 1,000 times at this point. So let's just get cracking on it. So I'm trying to test fit this right now, and this thing is way too big to fit, which I kind of expected to begin with, but now that I actually got it, you know, trying to be on the car, I can see just how far off it is. So essentially, I can still make it fit, but what I'm going to have to do is cut out this whole section here, because he wants these tips, so I have to try and, I mean, I'm going to just have to, you know, get rid of that completely, try and chop those hangers off, or I might just throw some new pipe in there. But yeah, anyway, shorten that up. And then this section here, I'm going to have to chop it off of the mufflers. I'm going to try and reuse this Y pipe so that way I don't have to make one. And yeah, I mean, essentially we're just going to have to really try and do this efficiently. I mean, I don't know. And then, yeah, resonator, cat right there. So that's all the easy stuff. I'm just about to drop the rest of the exhaust though, but I just wanted to show you guys that this is going to be the most tricky part. So just like normal, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to build up to the control arm just to make it simple. And then, yeah, we'll worry about this last since it has to be modified so heavily. So right now I am working on building the beginning to midsection, and this is pretty much what I've got so far. So right off the header, we opted for keeping the stock flange. I don't know if I mentioned that before because he had thought he wanted a V-bend, but then figured for ease of changing out headers later, keep the stock flange. So got that, it's already on the car, bolted up, ready to be tacked on to the rest of this. So right here we have the cat. We have about 29 inches of stainless steel to the Magnaflows muffler, and then a V-band on the other side of the muffler. So V-band's already welded on. I just welded the cat to this section. Now I was just prepping more filler rod because I ran out, and I'm kind of weird. I don't like holding the entire length of a new piece of filler rod, so I always wipe it with acetone like you should out of the box because it has oils on it. And then I like to cut them in half. I'm just kind of weird like that, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this weld joint up from the pipe to the resonator here, and then I can go ahead, throw this section on the car, and then I can tack it into place onto the flange. And then from there, I think I'm gonna start working on either the hanger or maybe the next section, just because I need to be able to have the stand to hold the midsection. I only have the one stand. So yeah, moving along steadily. So I apologize for not getting detailed shots of doing this. Again, I mean, I've done this 1,000 times. If you know the video just popping in on this type of thing, I do apologize for that, not showing as much detail, because sometimes I usually do, but S14 took a little bit longer than anticipated, so this job needs to be scooted along a little bit faster, which means less film time. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it nonetheless. But yeah, let's keep getting to work, or get back to work. Alright, so right now what you're seeing is I am about to tack weld this all up. Now, if you do notice, and if you were paying attention, if you don't, watch the channel regularly, of course, then you would notice that this is stainless steel, like I had mentioned before, but I'm actually using a MIG welder to tack this all together. And the reason for that being, it is much more efficient for me to tack it with a MIG welder than it is to try and TIG it on the car because of you know, the whole time is money thing, and it's much more time consuming to go ahead and try and TIG it, position it, because I have the foot pedal, I don't have the torch controlled one, so it's a little bit easier for me to just go ahead, hit it with the MIG, and then I just grind the welds down flush, and then I just TIG over it, and you know, it doesn't affect or hurt nothing, it just makes my job easier and faster. So I have pretty much, as you can see, built this point to the control arm, and now this is kind of where we're trying to go ahead and call it a day after this. Of course, I'm going to pull this all off before I head home, and I'm going to weld this, so that way tomorrow I can just focus on the muffler section, because that is going to be very time consuming. And yeah, nothing super crazy, but you know, I'm just trying to find a good position here where I'm not going to be, you know, rubbing all over the place or doing nothing crazy. And I think that we should be good right about there. Let me just come in and hit it with the MIG. Just like that. Oh, tripping over my tools. But yeah, nothing crazy. It just, yeah, again, makes my job easier. So now I'm gonna go ahead, drop this tail section. I do have the V-band clamp from the resonator, which is right before the S here by the fuel tank. So this last section should be pretty quick to weld up, hopefully. And yeah, making good progress. So it's a beautiful, chilly morning today. Yeah, let's get to cracking on this muffler piece. I'm just gonna, like I said before, I think I had mentioned, I'm just gonna take these sections out, so I'm gonna just start chopping this all up, and hopefully I can, you know, start mocking things up and figuring it out. Ideally, I think I'm gonna have to have the canisters with the tips on them as close as I can to the bumper to make room, because this Y pipe back here is gonna be a little bit tricky, since it's gonna have new pieces to attach the Y pipe to the muffler, so it's going to be a little weird, but I'm sure I can figure it out just fine. So yeah, let's get this thing right up there. All right, so I got everything split apart here. I got obviously the tips, here's the Y pipe, and then the muffler. So everything's all prepped inside. I just got to wipe it with acetone. I may be nice and might hit this with a quick polish before, you know, I lay anything final on it. Just to clean it up, since these are going to be exposed and whatnot, but I don't know. I may not, because I'm not getting paid for that, so we'll see. But essentially, I'm just going to throw this up on my little twirly bird stand over there, try and mock it up, and then I'm really thinking that these tips might just have to get welded, you know, straight on to the end like that, because I need all the space I can get. So I'm going to, you know, tinker with it, stare at it for a little bit, and I'll let you guys know what I figure out. On test fitting the muffler, trying to eyeball it, found out that it's definitely going to hit right here. So what I just called the guy and showed him, or whatever, FaceTimed him. He said he's not worried about it, just go ahead and cut it. So that's kind of what I'm looking at next. So I've started working on getting the Y pipe redone. This is what we're looking like so far. I got this cleaned up. I got to trim this back a little bit yet, because it's kind of a crooked cut because I was using the chop saw. And we got the one piece done. So I'm just going to go ahead, trace out, and get that second piece, and then the tips are just going to go straight on to the end like that, because there is just no room. It's such a large setup, so I'm just going to have to try and work with that. So I'm going to go ahead, piece all that together, and then we'll bring this up for another test fit, and yeah, we'll get this bumper trimmed. And if you guys are wondering what I use to trim bumpers, I usually use one or two tools, but my main go-to is just my Milwaukee, you know, jigsaw thing. It works really good, and it doesn't damage things. I always put tape around to follow that tape line. Little tricks, you know, make it easy on yourself. after like a good hour and a half, this thing is all done. So the only part that I'm not happy with is the very end here is kind of crooked, like it kind of bends off to the side slightly because it just wasn't, it used to be symmetrical, but whoever built this section before just really did, you know, kind of an job. And so I could only do kind of an job because I tried cleaning it up as much as I could, but the welds that they laid on there were so thick I just couldn't get everything as symmetrical as I wanted. But at least the tips are even, that's all good. So now I'm gonna let that cool off really quick and we're gonna try and test fit this again. So in the meantime, I'm going to start cutting the bumper here. Like I said, just kind of bringing it right around here. Should be easy. Hopefully that's good enough. 2 hangers, one on each side. It's so hard to fit the hangers in the factory spot, and there's nowhere I can bolt to for my other style of hanger. So they're tacked up. Let's lower it, see what it looks like. Okay, we're looking pretty good. So these hangers are a little saggy. The rubber portion, they're what came off of his stuff before. So I think if he was really concerned, because it looks like the tip sags just a little bit down, but if he gets just new hangers or even puts hose clamps around those ones, it'll suck it right up. But I think I'm good. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this all off. I'm gonna TIG on the hangers, but I had to make a really ugly little extension to get the tail section to meet the V-band. I'm just gonna have to MIG that. There's no way around it. Might maybe MIG it and then, you know, grind it and go over with the TIG to blend it or something, but yeah, it's just too big for back there, dude. But anyway, I'm gonna finish this up. Well, should we hear how it sounds? Really doesn't sound bad. It's pretty quiet, but it has a really nice tone to it, so I think he'll be stoked. I know I would be. And because the weight of the muffler, it is sagging just a little bit at the end, and it also kind of looks like I could have trimmed it a little bit less, but there is room to go up. But these hangers that he had, the rubber ones, they're so tired, so I'm gonna just tell him throw some new rubber on there, and it should suck it up just the rest of the way. But even then, like, you really got to be looking for it, because at first glance, like, it looks completely fine. So looks pretty good to me. Yeah, I suppose that pretty much wraps this thing up. Yeah, we're good. Well, the Integra's all done, just spun around the complex. It doesn't seem like that sway bar is rubbing the exhaust, but either way, I'm still going to recommend he gets, new rubber hangers to suck it up just to where I intended it to be. But anyways, yeah, thanks for spending some time with me here today. If you enjoyed the video, let me know in the comments down below. If you're new to the channel, hopefully you have considered subscribing by now. And if you ever feel so inclined to, support the channel further, you can go ahead and click those Vivid Racing or the Amazon affiliate links, make purchases through those. It kicks me a couple bucks. And I also have some merch in the Big Cartel and such. And yeah, anyways, guys, do what you love, think about the rest, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.